Coachella Valley Invitational. I knew when it was announced that this game, this tournament, pretty much was going to be live streamed that I was going to want to cover this in a video, but I told myself I wouldn't, and here I am recording it. As far as the game itself went, I'm just going to go over some quick highlights and some guys I thought stood out. First half starts, I think the back line did very well. I think overall in the game, the back line did very well, no matter who was in there, whether it was Malanda and João Pedro, or later you got more of Hamadi Diop and Privet. As far as the center backs, I thought they did very well no matter which combo was in there. Byrne in the first half was having some troubles marking his man, as Diego Fagundes, I believe it was, and he was kind of getting cooked. But he did show some really good prowess on the offensive end with that pace that we all know he has and his positioning. He looked decent. Ajimang was having a really tough time, I thought. He was taking his man on well. He was really confident, and he would break the back line, but it seemed like whenever he'd get the pass, he'd usually take a bad touch, and McCarthy was intelligent enough to come out of goal and get to that and really just kind of shut him down. His heavy touch has always kind of been his problem. I know he scores goals, and he's a really good hustle guy. His touch is really heavy. That's always been his problem. Petkovic seemed like he was pretty good at holding possession. Other than that, I didn't see a whole lot of him. Especially in that first half because we were playing very defensive. We didn't have the possession as much, so he really couldn't show that off. But I thought his defensive positioning was decent at least. Arfield on the wing, I don't know if it works, but it's serviceable for now it seems. Unfortunately, with the Brandon Cameron injury, we're just going to have to get a guy. For now, I think Arfield can hold his own fairly well on the wing, and sometimes he looks like a second striker. He comes up, he participates in the press. I think he does okay. I think he does an okay job. Tavares was playing very well. His size really is an asset for him. He could beat his defender very well. Whoever was marking him the whole game was having a tough time. He's also got some seriously good defensive effort, you can see, and his motor's pretty good. And defensively, as a winger, he's pretty impressive. When he would come back pretty deep with the back line, and he defended well. He might be a very good option for defending set pieces also. I noticed that both the wingers kind of inverted a lot in the first half. Obviously, that's by design, and it's probably because of Arfield being there. Usually, they would invert out of possession, strangely enough. Westwood, Petkovic, and Dejagre did a very good job of containing Puig in that first half. We didn't see a whole lot of Puig. He was cooking, don't get me wrong. He was making dangerous passes, runs, everything, what you'd expect from Ricky Puig. But I thought they did a very good job of containing him, working together. Petkovic's positioning really helped him out there, and they did a good job of kind of putting him in the triangle and eliminating those 1-2 passes, those one-touch passes that really make Ricky Puig dangerous. At times, the back line really played that offside trap, like sneaky and clever. I really liked it. There were some times where Malanda would bait a guy into running in and just back off and quickly put him offside and just kill a play off. I think as Dean Smith said in an interview after the game, the Galaxy did look better than that first half. They had a couple of starters in there. They had most of their team in there. And it is true that in the second half, Galaxy did bring on a lot of their academy players. They definitely looked better in the first half, but also we had our chances. Sometimes they get killed off by either an errant pass or a heavy touch. But I think we had our chances in the first half. I don't think we looked overrun or anything like that. The second half, first of all, just a quick joke. The announcer was constantly referring to Copetti as Copati or something like that. It was really unnerving. It was funny, but it kind of ruined it sometimes. Also, our trialist came on, so that was fun. It looked like we were playing with a lot more possession in the second half, which at the very start of the second half almost felt a little shaky at times. But our guys started to kind of, get into it and fill it out, and it was fine overall. Privet looked good with his feet. We all know he's good with his feet. That's never been his problem. I think we are likely going to see him at center back more, just like we did last year. And some people have problems with that. I kind of did it first. I'm kind of used to it at this point. I thought Diop filled in very well when he came on. João Pedro actually filled out to left back. And I thought Hamadi Diop did a very good job of filling in. He looked confident, and we knew he was good. I mean, I think we saw his confidence at the beginning of last year. It's just all of a sudden he didn't get played, and I don't know if that was a Latanzio thing. I don't know if he has legitimate issues off the pitch, but today he looked really, really good. Like I said, it should be noted that there were a bunch of academy guys for Galaxy in the second half, so the fact that we were able to really turn on the pressure and succeed in the press a lot shouldn't come as a shock, but the press did work very, very well in the second half. I think another takeaway I can take from the second half, Copetti is absolutely our number one striker, at least when we want to play with possession. He is just so much more useful than Ajamang for the team in possession. He works much better in the system, and that's why I think he's probably the best striker whenever we have the ball, if that's going to be our game plan. I thought, again, Tavares was just able to dominate his marker. Once he got on the left wing, man, he was just, he's not fast, so sometimes he can get beat because of his pace, and there was a time where he kind of had a clumsy moment and fell over, but he, as a general rule, just dominates whoever's marking him because he's so much bigger. It's so hard for him to do a job on him, especially solo. We did have a couple of shaky moments in transition defense. It's not something I'd be super, super concerned about, but there was moments that were like, hey, whoa. In the 56th minute, Tavares puts in an awesome long ball, which penetrates the back line. Copetti's already making a really well-timed run, absolutely torches both center backs. One of them stretched his left leg out, tried to get a ball on it, but wasn't happening. Then he collects the ball really easily. I don't even think he took a touch on it, actually. And then the keeper comes out. He just very calmly slows the game down, slots it in right around him. Easy goal. Went for placement, not power. Just, this is what you can get from Copetti's just straight up class. I thought Marks made some great saves, but then again, we all know he can do that. That's never been his problem. But solid saves, looked good out there, commanded his box well. Nothing bad to say about Marks. In the 61st minute, Desjardins forces an error from the keeper. It was kind of a weird moment because the keeper was really indecisive, and there were a bunch of our guys just kind of hawking him. But basically, Desjardins baits him into an errant pass. He's able to pick the pocket of the defender and goes forward and gets a shot off. Trialist, who is Tariq Fosu, ends up jumping on the rebound and slotting it home. So it's a goal for the trialist, but really it's a goal created by Desjardins and by the press, which was working in full force by this point in the game. Okay, a lot of people were excited to hear that Nimfasha Berkimos came on. I thought he showed some serious glimpse of like very good touch and technicality and just a very good player. For his age, it's pretty impressive that he's just not afraid to take on guys. He does have the capability to just turn a defender. I mean, absolutely nasty. But you could see that he maybe isn't ready for the first team level yet. He definitely had some up and down moments. I'd say more up than down, but those down moments, especially when you're playing against an academy team that's mostly, a Galaxy team that's mostly academy kids, are not something you really want to see. And so for me, I at first before the season, I thought maybe there was a chance Berkimos gets some minutes at right back or at right wing, nothing crazy. And now I'm starting to think I don't think he's really going to get those opportunities. He could because of how thin the position is, but I think today I saw that like maybe he's not ready for that first team level yet. Pedro once again really, really confident, and he looked very confident left back. I thought he played very well. He cut out long passes very well. Just showed some really good defensive ability. Now his offensive side as a left back is kind of lacking. He puts in those through balls. Sometimes he's got way too much weight on him, which would kill a play, which is not something you want to see. For once, I'm finally confident in our left back depth because we finally have a starter in Euronin and a backup in Pedro, and we don't have to worry about getting players out of position or things like that. I think Pedro plays perfectly well at left back. Gardena came in. He had some tough moments. I'm not going to lie. I do like this kid, but he had a really bad botched touch around the 80th minute where he basically stepped on the ball, and it allowed Galaxy to get a pretty dangerous chance in, and it also just killed our attack, our counter, and that's frustrating, and I think he can do better than that. Finally, for the last goal of the game, Hamadi Diop just has an amazing free kick. We know he can do that. If you've seen his tape at Clemson, he's showcased that many times. He's very good on set pieces, very good set piece delivery. One of my favorite, one of the most interesting players for me, Brian Romero, came on. Just like for the U.S.'s U17s during their qualifying run for the World Cup, he plays very calm. He likes to sit deep, and he picks his moments very well. His acceleration really showed in this game, I think. You could just see that he is very fast. Other than that, he really didn't have a lot of time to showcase anything. There was a few moments for a negative, there's a few moments where maybe there would be a loose ball and he just wouldn't get to it in time, or he was a little indecisive at jumping on him, and that's a little alarming. He is very, very young, so it happens. So my takeaways for this game, I feel like Dean Smith is legit. I do, and I hate overreacting in preseason, but he feels like a diverse manager in a sense, where I know people hear diverse manager and they kind of get scared because Latanzio kind of felt like a diverse manager, but really on the surface, Latanzio is just a tinkerer, and he tinkers everything to make his system better. He wants to play his system and his system only, and he wants to move pieces around to make his system work. The thing about Dean Smith is I feel like he's the polar opposite, which is kind of what we need, where he doesn't mess with the formation. He doesn't really mess with the players' positions too much, but he's flexible tactically, and that's what we need. He does not play one style of ball, it seems, only, where maybe with Latanzio, I mean, I can think of a lot of games, but the Red Bulls game, the last game of the season, our only playoff game we ever had, really stands out to me, where the Red Bulls press was absolutely suffocating our guys, and Latanzio is just so stubborn about playing out the back. No matter how many times he moves that back line around, he wants to play out the back, and it was just playing right into Red Bulls' hands. Dean Smith does not strike me as the guy that's going to do that. In the first half, he had us playing out of possession. In the second half, he had us a lot more in possession. But when we were out of possession, he really turned up the press a lot. And I think these are things I like to see, because I feel like in-game situations, he's going to be able to make these tactical changes a lot sooner. He's going to be a lot more flexible with his tactics than Latanzio was. The midfield looked pretty solid defensively, but it did lack some physicality at times. I think Petkovic is more of a positional defender, and he's good at it. I think, you really can't expect Westwood to get out there and put a body on anybody, and Desjagre is great in a press, but he's an offensive midfielder. Might be an issue. Maybe that's where we see a Brent Bronico step in. I thought the attack was much better with Copetti than Ajimang. Really, I don't want to dog on Ajimang, but the touch and timing of his runs was much better than Ajimang's, and the way he took his defenders on was less direct, but in a sense, much more effective. I thought the young center backs worried me before I saw these guys play, but today I'm a lot more confident in their ability to work together. Now, when they're getting run out by guys like Hani Mukhtar, Lucho Costa, Denis Bouanga, it's going to maybe be a different story, but I think for now, I'm fairly confident in the back line. Pedro, I thought showed some really good defensive acumen. And like I said, I'm finally confident in that left back depth. But on the right side of the pitch, Jalen Lindsey, who I really expected to have a great season this year, kind of came in a little soft. I don't know how I felt about his performance, maybe more neutral than anything. I don't think it was bad, but he just didn't really show me what he shows normally, which is great passing, great crossing ability, and being a good offensive, almost a wing back style right back. Okay, so for me, my players with solid showings, first off, got to go Enzo Copetti. I think the fans were really waiting for him to kind of net one and look confident. Maybe this brown-haired Copetti's a different guy, but I thought he had a very good showing. Obviously, after that goal, you see a little less from him, but to me, his positioning and just, everything I praise this man for on a daily basis was what really good, and I think that he will show that he's the guy in the future. My second solid showing has got to be Luis Tavares. Tavares, obviously, if you watch Crown Legacy, he really stood out last year. He did get a couple Player of the Month, I believe, maybe just one. Maybe I'm blowing out of proportion. But I think he showed some serious physical skills that we can use. The problem is he is on the left wing, and for me, that spot is really locked up for Vargas. I don't think he's got a chance there, but he did show some utility, and his passes are amazing, and his ability to beat guys one-on-one because of his size is something that's very, very useful. Hamadi Diop might actually be my man of the match. I thought he came on, he looked confident, he looked like he was leading the line despite being a young guy. Great set-piece delivery, very, very confident with the ball at his feet. I thought he took guys on well. I thought he shut down passes well. Now, the difference is Malanda and João Pedro had the first half playing against the better players, right? Whereas Hamadi comes on and gets to play against mostly academy kids. But still really good showing, probably my man of the match. João Pedro, I thought, was a positive showing as well. Like I said, offensively he's limited, but I like to see his versatility on display, and I think he worked very well with Malanda, and I think he's a relatively big guy, and he complements Malanda's style of play really well. Neutral guy / guy that need to see more. First of all, Brian Romero, I don't think he got a lot of opportunities to do much. I think this tournament is a good excuse for him to get some minutes. Obviously, you're going to want, as the tournament goes later, you're going to want to get your starters on the field and get them into game shape. Scarred Arfield on the wing, I could see more of it. Like I said, I thought it was serviceable. He's pretty good in the press, but I really do want to see more of him on the wing before I can really form an opinion. Hopefully, we do get to see more of that, because that right wing position really does scare me a little bit. Pekovic, I didn't really get to see him. Now, a lot of this is due to this really poor camera quality and not very good camera angles, right, on the coverage for this game. But I really didn't get to see him a lot with the ball. That's something I want to see a lot of him with, because he seems like he can hold the ball very well. It seems like it's pretty hard to take the ball away from him, which is, I think, a very valuable player in our midfield. Ajimong, I didn't put him in poor. I'm going to say neutral, because he did attack the line very well. He did break through very well on offense. Maybe he didn't get the same service that Copetti did, but honestly, that first touch just really does bother me. It worries me a lot. The only player I'm going to say didn't really do himself any favors is Nick Scardina. I thought Nick Scardina, I thought he was going to do a lot better than he did, especially against the academy guys. That touch, like I said, was kind of criminal. He had a few errant, just weird tackles that were man, that's very clearly a foul. What are you doing? Not no one had a bad game. I mean, say that. It's not like he had a stinker, but he didn't do anything positive in my eyes that really stood out to me. And the negatives weren't horrible, but it did stand out, and he did stand out as a poor player in my opinion. Let me know how you feel about these match day reactions. Hopefully I can do more. Try to do it new this time. I'm actually wearing the Charlotte kit. Clean shaven. Maybe one day I'll get a new beanie. We'll see. Yeah, guys, just make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know if you think maybe I'm being too harsh on Ajimong, being too harsh on Scardina. Maybe I'm being a complete Copetti stan, fanboy, something like that. Just let me know. Hope you guys have a good one. See you later.